Now, stone gods have fallen out of favor with mankind for the most part, because the invisible God, and gods, if you will, depending on your faith, have pretty much taken over that job. And, of course, most faiths say that you're to have no other gods before you except their God. And the only way to get to whatever heaven they talk about is through their specific God. With that in mind, though, I will tell a story that goes way back, and I've heard different versions of it, but I like this one. And a man made a living, as many make a living off of religion today. He made a living off of God, gods to be exact. In fact, he made gods, from the small size of the simplest of maybe just some kind of a little stone pyramid type thing to worship. And of course he got more elaborate. He'd make little gods for you. Depending on how much money you had, is the size of god that you would buy. The bigger god, the more money it cost, the more he would make. And so he made gods for a living. Well, one day he wanted a day off, and so he asked the neighbor to come over, and neighbor came over, and he said, I want to take a day off, you watch my shop for me. Anybody comes, you just sell them a god. Okay. And so when the owner got back, though, at the end of the day, all of his gods were busted to pieces. All of his gods were destroyed. Just rubble was all that was left, except for one. The biggest god that he had created and still had in the shop, it was there, but everything else was destroyed. He asked the neighbor, who had been watching the shop, what happened? It's all rubble. What happened? And the neighbor said, well, he said, you see the biggest god over there? Well, he went around and destroyed all of the other gods except for him. The God maker, if you will, said, now wait a minute. It's just a stone. It's just a rock. And so it is that mankind finally figured out that maybe there were some games being played. It took centuries and a lot of lives, I'm sure, to get that convinced through the people. Be that as it may, though, even today, a lot of people make money pushing things that they don't believe in themselves. I have had more preachers and a few priests and even a Jesuit priest, nose to nose, tell me that they didn't believe in God, yet they pushed it to the people and they collected the money for it. It's a sad world we live in. Now I myself, I believe in Jesus Christ, but He's in my heart. I don't need any figurines of Him, and I don't need to go to any man-made churches that talk about Him, because He is, again, in my heart. They can build the $10 million tax-free buildings, as many as they want, but He isn't going to be there. If He isn't in your heart, it doesn't matter, in my humble opinion. But be that as it may, that's just my thoughts on it. But we do have a new stone god that I found in McCook, Nebraska.